Good morning. It's wonderful to see everybody. We're on a roll here. See if I can keep this thing going. So something I'm sure all of us have heard and probably said out loud is this idea of being perfect, whole, and complete, right? Do you know where that came from? Anyone? Okay, neither do I. But I know who made it popular. It was Louise Hay, and this is the way she said it: in the infinite of life, where I am, all is perfect, whole, and complete. Which points out that perfection, wholeness, and completeness, we're only responsible for where we are. We're not responsible for that everywhere, although it is everywhere. And we cannot be separated from it. But ours is to see it where we are. And that includes our relationship with everything that's out there. But what I want to do is kind of dissect this idea of perfect, whole, and complete. And I want to start with some just very general definitions. So we're going to take these words one at a time. Here we go. Perfect, having all required elements, qualities, or characteristics. Pretty simple, eh? Now, there's another definition that reads much the same, but it goes like this: having all desired elements, qualities, and characteristics. I summarily reject that as a definition of the word perfect. Perfect is not equal to the desired results. And we do that all the time. Something turns out just the way we imagine. We go, it's perfect. What a limited idea of perfection. Imagine that there's two people. It shouldn't be hard. You can actually see it in every stadium and ball field that there ever is. There are people who have a different desired outcome. Only half of them get to be perfect, or one part of them gets to be perfect, and the rest of them don't? Of course not. So the idea of perfection having to do with what we want is a very limited, unusable way to look at the word perfection. We're perfect. What I can tell you is, though, that the way the universe is designed and our activity within that universe must be perfect. Because our consciousness is reflected perfectly into the law, and the law of spirit reflects it perfectly back to us as our experiences. Sometimes we don't like that. Some might say then, well, then why did Barbara have a stroke? This was her path. I reject the idea that all of life is meant to be sweetness and light. Life is meant to call us to know who we are. That's why we get up in the morning, not because the food's good or the weather's nice or anything else. We get up in the morning to express the divine and to remember that that is who we are. And if we are truly the presence of the divine that I've been telling you all for 30 years, if that's true, then it's already so. And there's nothing to change about that. So that's the idea around perfection. The next word was whole. Whole, the state of being unbroken or undamaged. Now, even if you've got a strong inner critic, I want you to know you're not broken and you're not damaged. It's not talking about your body. Your body can get broken. You can break an arm. You can damage your body. You're not your body. You're something much greater than that. As invisible as the true essence of what you are may be, the essence of you is the creative force of the universe. It can't be broken. It can't be damaged. That's impossible. So accept with me that you must be whole, no matter the conditions of your life. Because all conditions are brought about by consciousness. And our job is not to judge them, but to learn from them. To relate to them in a way that helps us see, as Barbara said in the video you saw just a few minutes ago, it's already there. It's already so. You've already got it. You're not broken. You're not damaged. You're not something less than. And your job is to remember who you are. That's whole. And then we have complete, having all the appropriate parts. And again, we're not talking about your body. We're talking about your consciousness, your essence, who you are, the real you. Anybody missing parts? No. Therefore, you and I must be perfect, whole, and complete. So let's throw all that together in a statement right here. I am perfect, whole, and complete. I have all the required elements, qualities, or characteristics to be me perfectly. Being in no way broken or damaged, I am whole. And I have all the appropriate components for my life to be complete. That's the truth. That's who you are. That's what perfect, whole, and complete means. So now we've got a sense of what it means. What happens to us when we believe that this is so? When we live this way? How is our life changed from the idea that somehow we are somehow limited, flawed, fragile human beings? When we move beyond that into this greater understanding of our beingness, of our wholeness, of our completeness, and of our perfection, how does that change how we live our lives day to day? So I pondered this, and I came up with some thoughts. If I believed I was perfect, whole, and complete, what? What would it look like? How would it be different? So here, I just want to give you a taste of this. Obviously, I'm only going to touch on a few things because I can't keep you all day as much as I'd like to. So let's look at some ideas around this and see how that is, how that might work. If I believed I was perfect, whole, and complete, I would stop finding fault in the circumstances of my life and could easily focus on what's next. Because every time we focus on something we think isn't the way we want it about our lives, we're stealing our energy and attention from creating something that's better. We created the thing that's here now. And to complain about it, it is like wasting your time, wasting your energy, wasting your consciousness on something that's already here. And when we complain about it and find fault in it, we just make it more solid in our lives. Because what are we doing? We're paying attention to it. And I'm not saying that we ignore the conditions that we don't want. But the best way to change the conditions in our lives is looking at what's next and what we want to be there in that next moment, in that next experience, in that next section of our lives. That's where the power is. Because trying to change what's happening right now by focusing on what we're seeing right now takes us to nowhere. So our work is to recognize the conditions of our lives, the circumstances that we have right now, and know that, and then choose what the next step is. When we choose the next step, we're able to change our lives. It was Rockingbird, and I know I've told you this 1,000 times, but he just absolutely captured my imagination when he said, complaining about where your life is and trying to get away from something you don't want is like tying a rope around a tree and yanking on that rope as hard as you can, complaining that the tree won't let go. We're doing it. We're doing all of it. So don't do that. What's next? What's the next great adventure? What's the next step? What's the next thought? What's the next breath? And let that be your focus. And bring that into a higher reality. And things change. So that's certainly one way to look at perfection, wholeness, and completeness. Let's do another one. If I believed I was perfect, whole, and complete, I would stop comparing myself to everyone else. And instead, I'd be content with who I am. You'd be content with who you are. I'd be content with who I am because I'm perfect, whole, and complete. Yes, it's a circle, and it's going to keep spinning, and it's going to get more real for you the more you do it. So the task is, instead of looking and saying, well, they've got a better deal than I do, they've got more money, they've got more education, they've got more opportunities, whatever it might be, They look better than me. They dress better than me. What does that give us? It gives us nothing. It gives us nothing because we've already got it all. We've got everything it takes to get out of life what we've come to get. And even more importantly, we've got everything already within us that we've come to give the world. And we do that. We are all one way or another in service to the world. And that service is beautiful and brilliant and wonderful. All work is sacred. Everything that we give has value and brings greatness to the world. That's where we're going. That's what we're doing. Being content with who I am is to remember that I am perfect, I am whole, and I am complete. Let's try another one. If I believed I was perfect, whole, and complete, I would no longer need to look outside myself for approval or guidance. Now, I've learned very well that having support is a wonderful thing. I've had so many of you that have come and worked with Barbara and supported Barbara and given me the space to come over here and do Barbara's job. And I want to report to you, I'm not doing it as well as she did yet, but I'm getting better. But the idea of yes, thank you. We don't need the approval of anyone. I used to think I did. There was a talk that was given at an International New Thought Alliance convention, or Congress, they called it, a few years ago. In fact, it was the first one I ever went to. And there was a speaker from Florida that got up and gave a great talk. And he's talking to a room full of ministers for the most part. And he says, so why it is that you give a Sunday message, you stand in the receiving line, and everybody goes, oh, it was wonderful, thank you so much, you were talking just to me, all these great accolades, and one person comes through and said, wow, you really missed on that. Why is it that person you take home to bed with you? Because you want everybody's approval, and that's not reasonable. So let it go. If someone tells you, no, I don't agree with you, or I don't like the way you did that, or something, that's information. I'm not saying tell them to go to hell. I'm saying receive the information and look at it from an objective point of view. Is there something that you can gain from it, something that you can do to improve your presence in the world, or is it just their opinion? If there is something there, use it. My first spiritual teacher had this great thing that he would say is that everyone has a reality. You have a reality, the next person has a reality. When you get into a conversation discussing something about how your realities differ, listen, pay attention. One of two things will happen. Either you will make some shift in your reality, or what they're saying will help confirm to you that what you already believe is working just fine. Either way works. So you don't need approval from anyone in this life except yourself. You should approve of yourself. You should find ways to live a life that you go, yes, I'm doing it well. I'm being the one I've come here to be. Doing that has great value. But anyone else's opinion is simply information, which you can use if it's valuable or discard if it's not. Don't get caught up in thinking you're going to make everybody in the world happy. It was a little conversation we had in the kitchen this morning about how I claimed that someone did something wonderful to make me happy. Now, no one can make us happy except ourselves. But we all decided that's why the kitchen's there, so that everyone can be happy. That'll work. Is this working for you? Okay. All right, let's look at another one. If I believed I was perfect, whole, and complete, I would see myself in others and celebrate the things we share. That's an interesting thought, because as much as you are perfect, whole, and complete, so are they. So are they. And when we find fault in them, we diminish ourselves. We take away from who we are. It doesn't affect them, especially if they're on line with the previous slide. The truth is that by celebrating who they are, we see them even better. We see them even clearer. And when we see them clearer, we can see ourselves clearer. And then we create a level of communication between us that is of everyone's advantage. But when we find fault, we cut them off to our own detriment. And that does not help. So when you find yourself falling into judgment of another, remember that what that's doing is stealing that brilliant being's opportunity to have an impact on your life in a meaningful way through the things that you share, through the ways that you are similar or the same, or the ways that you have things alike about you. And those things are brilliant and wonderful. Enjoy them. And avoid that getting angry or upset or being in judgment of anyone. It only hurts us when we do that. If I believed I was perfect, whole, and complete, I would know the beauty in you as a reflection of the beauty in me. Beauty is something we can't always see. We have to be in the right mood to get beauty. There's lots of other things that kind of lambaste us and we get no matter what. But beauty is something that requires some attention. It requires that we seek it out. Barbara used to say to me when we were driving around that I was good at noticing what the sunset was doing as we'd be driving, or how the landscape had changed, or how there was a field of flowers, and I would always point that out to her. And I saw that as a wonderful gift that I had that enhanced my life. And she said it was enhancing hers. I'm not in so many words, but she liked it. And that made me feel even better. But it requires some attention to do that. It requires thinking that there must be wonderful things out there. We can get all caught up in the thoughts in our head, and God knows I've been there too, where they'll just kind of suck all the air out of you and keep you from remembering the truth. But when we can look out at the world and see beauty, what's happening is we're connecting to ourselves because we're in the midst of all that beauty. And how could the beauty be deficit where we are if it's all around us? We must all have that within us. And when we can find it in others, we can find it in ourselves. And when we can find it in ourselves, we can find it in others. It's some good work to do around beauty, around awakening ourselves to what an extraordinary world we live in, and how wonderful it is on so many levels in so many ways. So when, again, you're finding that you're seeing something that seems flawed or broken or not enough, look again. Look again. Emerson said, even in the muck and mire of things, something sings. Find the thing that sings. Find the thing that can touch your heart and let it touch your heart. And then your world gets better and the whole world gets better. If I believed I was perfect, whole, and complete, I would be aware of all the love that surrounds me and would never again allow fear to complicate my life. Whew. Yeah. That's what I did the night that Barbara had her emergency surgery at 1 a.m. I became aware of the love. In fact, I called my colleagues all over the country. I woke a lot of them up. It was 1 a.m. on the East Coast, and I've got friends on the East Coast. And I asked them to pray with me. And honestly, in that moment, that saved my life. Because I didn't know if I was going to get to see her again. And yet out she came. Doctor saying, well, it didn't work. And I'm going, yes, it did. You brought her back to me. It worked perfectly. And all those prayers paid off. It was brilliant. It was wonderful. We are surrounded in love. If someone were to come to me and say, there's no love in my life, I would ask them, if all the trees in Asheville were cut down, if all the people left town, I would ask them if somehow something cleared the world of all that love. Just to give them a sense that they're creating that sense of love. Love is an absolute. Love is always within us, always present. It's our job to see it. That's why when we say, I love you, what you're saying and what I'm saying is I'm aware of the presence of love when I look at you. Because love can't go away. All we can do is we can shut it off, close our eyes to it, close our heart, and not experience it. We can do that and we can be miserable. But the truth is that when we're aware of the love in our lives, everything's okay, no matter what. Barbara has a lot of protocols going on in her life right now. One is that because she can't use her right arm very well, it tends to hang, even when she's sitting off to the side. And when that happens, the weight of her arm has a not so good impact on her shoulder, on her shoulder joint. And what the term is, and you've heard this if you ever go to a chiropractor, is that it could become subluxated, meaning out of alignment, not in the right place, and could create some more problems. So one thing that the occupational therapists have been doing is keeping a certain kind of tape on it in a certain direction and position so that it holds that shoulder in place. And yesterday, Barbara said, "It's bothering me, I want to take it off." I said, "Well, I didn't put it on." So I tell you what, I'll send Ellen Vale a text message. She's over in Tennessee today. And we sent her the message. 10 minutes later, Barbara said, "Do you have a message from Ellen?" "No." 10 minutes later, "Do you have a message from Ellen?" "No." 10 minutes later, "Do you have a message from Ellen?" "No." "Is it really bothering you?" She said, "Yes." So I took it off. And then I get this big email or big text message from Ellen saying, "Don't take it off!" I was not being aware of love at that moment. So we're getting up at, 2 in the morning, maybe it was 6, I don't remember, it all blends together, to go to the bathroom, and Barbara said, "My shoulder hurts." "Well, I know why, because we took the tape off." And she so calmly looked at me and said, "I think you're angry with me." "No, I'm angry with me, because I always listen to you and do what you want." But what came out of that was I calmed down. I'm all right. I wasn't completely calm until Kate gave me permission. Kate's over there holding high watch with a big grin on her face. She said it's okay, that Ellen will be back tomorrow. Just keep it supported and it'll be fine. Okay. And it's all fine. Everything's good. Everything's good. And me worrying about that kind of stuff gets in the way. And I need to learn how to say no to my wife. But in a gentle and loving way. So, am I growing through this? You bet your butt I'm growing through this. Every day. Because of course I want the best for her. And if I make a misstep, my critic comes out and wants to make me wrong. And it doesn't help. So what do? We figure out how to do it the best way we can with what we got. And things work out. So that's love and letting go of fear, because fear complicates our lives. Fear never takes us to the place we want. It confuses us and it causes us to think that we're wrong or bad, and we're not. We're doing the best we can no matter what. And judging ourselves only holds us in a place that does not serve who we want to be in the world. If I believed I was perfect, whole, and complete, I would feel truly alive and at peace with the way my life is unfolding. Kind of sums it up. I like being alive. I think it's a good thing. I think being alive and getting it and knowing it is something to celebrate with every breath, with every beat of my heart. And I call you to that place too, of spend your day celebrating who you are. Celebrating what you've created with your friendships and your loved ones and your things in life that you enjoy. Celebrate those things. Put your energy into that. let the rest go. It'll all work itself out. It always does. I know if I asked you to raise your hand, which I'm not, everyone would admit you've had a crisis point in your life. And yet you're still here. You did not dissolve into nothingness. You did not keel over and leave your body, right? So you made it through. And you know what? You and I are going to make it through the next one too. It's all working out. And the best thing we can do for ourselves is to remember that, to remember who we are, that the Creator is always greater than the creation. No matter whether we like the creation or we don't, we are greater, and we can create something else. And I think this is going to be the last one. If I believed I was perfect, whole, and complete, I would accept my current reality without blame, lack, or any sense of failure. This would have been a good place to tell you the story about the tape. We don't fail, we learn. When we do something that doesn't work out the way we wanted to, it doesn't make it imperfect. It makes it an opportunity to see who we are even clearer. It calls us to see that we have more to bring to life and that we are amazing beings. And if we could just remember that in those hard moments, it makes it easier. It makes it richer. It makes it fuller. That's where we need to spend our time and energy. Oh, yet one more. If I believed I was perfect, whole, and complete, I would accept my past, embrace my present, and allow my future to unfold joyously. If Barbara was up speaking today, I would love it. But she can't right now. She's not going to do, physically, she's not ready to do that. That has not kept me from having extraordinarily wonderful experiences every day. Her presence in this room today, I know it's no surprise, but it brought me to tears because to see her walk unassisted is so far away from where she was 2.5 months ago, where she couldn't do anything on her own. Now she stands and she walks with this cane. She seems to have circumvented the walker thing. I don't know. Maybe we'll get one of those or maybe we won't. But the wins that I'm getting in my life over these last 2.5 months have been extraordinary. Seeing the outpouring of love, seeing the outpouring of people wanting to assist and being so honored. Sandra Knight, who is a nurse by profession, has come and stayed with Barbara. And when I thank her for coming and spending the day with Barbara, she said, it's my great honor. And it is. It's a great honor. It's a great honor to be married to this one and to see her bringing her body back to fullness and wholeness. She's already whole. She's already perfect. And she's already complete. And she's just working on her body doing the same thing. So I invite you this week to remember that you are perfect. No matter what comes up in that moment in your thinking, you're still perfect. You want to deny it and go through hell about that? Okay. But you're perfect. You're whole. There's nothing missing or broken in you. And you are complete. Now, you may have more things to learn and to know, and that's great. Your life might not be over. You may not be completely baked. But you are complete. You have it all right now, and you always will. You are the presence of the divine. God knows it, so you know it, and so it is.
Hi, I'm Barbara Waterhouse.
And I'm John Waterhouse. Thank you for watching this message today.
Through our website, cslasheville.org, we have over 1,000 messages, classes, and New Thought books, all to download at no charge to anyone.
Producing this incredibly valuable collection of ideas is really making a difference in the world. It's changing lives everywhere.
Please go to our website, cslasheville.org, and click the Donate button. You can support this life-changing ministry, and when you do, we'll send you a note of thanks and also put you on our daily prayers.
By doing this, you're helping to raise the consciousness of people across the entire globe. We're changing lives together, those lives that are being more prosperous, more healthy, and more joyous. Thank you for being a part of this important work and supporting what we do here at CSL Asheville.
Thank you.